All right, first up on the show is Kerry Copeland, an expert roofer and the president of Patriots Roofing. Kerry, welcome back to the show. So storm season's coming up, and I know you guys are gonna be very busy out there handling all the calls and stuff that come in. So, is it storm season, and when did it start?
Well, technically, it's already started. It's been a strange year. It should have already been pretty severe. It hadn't been, so we're expecting it to get pretty severe. But the true hurricane season is just now kicking in.
Okay, yeah. Do we have any storms that are
potential
not on radar?
Potential.
There's one kind of trying to work its way across the Caribbean right now.
Okay, so it's going to go up the I guess the eastern side. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come to the Gulf. I guess we'll see, right? So when it comes to storms, they hit the house. Sometimes we get damaged. Sometimes trees break. Sometimes they don't. And I know there's a lot that goes into that, right? Because trees can be damaged ahead of time. The roof can be damaged ahead of time. All this stuff that's happening that we're not even aware of throughout the year. And then when a storm comes through, we're wondering, why did my tree fall on my house? My roof's falling apart and all this stuff's going on. So what elements of a storm, this is probably a fairly obvious question, but I kind of want to start with some of the basics. But what elements are we looking at that can really damage our roof?
Hail, wind. If there's heavy rain, if you don't have your gutters clear or your valleys clear from like leaves, things like that, then water can start to sort of dam up and work its way under the shingles. So heavy rain, sometimes if you have some spots that are weak, you could get something there. But the wind can tear off flashing. Most of the flashings are aluminum, so that can happen easily. And then, of course, the hail just beats the asphalt and takes the granules off the asphalt and makes it susceptible to the elements.
And as a homeowner, as a fairly layperson, I'm learning a lot with talking with you guys on the show, and I enjoy that. But the reality is, I think we don't really understand the wear and tear that happens on our roof throughout the year.
Sure.
And when a storm comes through, it's not just water, right? It's debris. And then it's how that debris is then affecting our roof because of wind and because of more rain and stuff like that. There really is a lot of damage that can accumulate on that. So what kind of things should a homeowner be looking for damage-wise or wear and tear on our roof that maybe we can get identify early and get ahead of?
What I would suggest for everyone is to, whether it's an iPhone or whatever you have, create an album on your phone if you're going to do it yourself, or have someone like Paul coming by to document everything, whether it's the roof, the flashings, the siding, windows, whatever. Document how your home looks today. And then that way, whenever a storm, if you are affected by a storm and your insurance company comes out, then they can't claim that it's old damage or things like that. Now, that being said, if you do have some damage on there, you can go ahead and get that repaired and fixed. But then document that. It'll make your process with your insurance company so much easier.
So when it comes to flashing, and I hear this come up quite a bit, right? So if flashing is not done right to begin with, that's a huge problem. But so if we're going to identify what's wrong with flashing, for example, what should we be looking for?
So a lot of times you'll have to have sealant with flashing, let's say around a chimney. You're going to be talking about chimneys later. That flashing around there, and then any sealants that will just deteriorate over time,
right?
Things like that.
The boots around plumbing vents.
Yep, all that.
Rubber boots.
Those actually need to be maintained.
Yeah.
If you have the rubber boots up there, they'll, after years of exposure, they'll start to deteriorate as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, so and then flashing, if it's not, give me an obvious sign that a flashing has not been installed correctly. What would be something that would be obvious, like say around your chimney, for example?
If it is just metal, let's say it's a stone or brick chimney, and it's just the metal flashing there, and just a bead of heavy, thick caulk that's been done several times, that'd be a good indicator. You're actually supposed to cut into the brick or the stone, and then you create the flashing that goes inside and inserts. It takes less sealant. And it's much better. Otherwise, it's just kind of putting a Band-Aid on something. You're not making it secure.
Well, that makes sense. All right. So what about damage to your asphalt shingle? So obviously, impact damage, you're going to have granule loss.
Sure.
Right. Look at me. I sound like I've been doing this for years, right?
Yeah.
But also folds in the shingles.
Sure.
Right,
You see a
like-
lot on old 3 tabs, but you can get it on a architectural shingle as well. The wind will come in and it'll actually separate the shingle above from the shingle below. And you may not lose the shingle, but you'll get a creasing in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll need to document and see those things. That's an obvious sign of wind damage.
Okay. And why is that bad if there's a fold in it?
No, same thing. You're losing the granules, and it shows that there has been that roof has, or that structure itself has been under a severe wind event, and that's just more documentation towards that. So
Okay.
that could easily just go to siding or anything. A lot of things you can tell from the roof shows what the rest of the house has gone through as well.
Oh, interesting point. And something you had mentioned before too is look at your roof at different times of the day because of the sunlight. Why is that important?
There's fiberglass in these asphalt shingles. Sometimes, if you're just looking at it, if you're not up on the roof and you're just trying to look at it from ground level, then the different, where the sun is at, different times of the day, you'll be able to identify damage that you wouldn't be able to see it when the sun's directly on it.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Okay. Gutter damage. So what does a gutter have to do with the integrity of a roof?
So a lot of times what you'll find on the gutters, so your roof around the whole perimeter, so the eaves and the rakes, you have the drip edge. If a gutter is installed that went through the drip edge as opposed to underneath the drip edge, then you've lost some of that integrity. You've created a place for water intrusion. So that's making sure that drip edge is working with the gutter system or vice versa, to where that water is coming off the roof into the gutter and not working its way back under and getting to the fascia. or
Okay,
the
so
decking.
that's really the connection to the roof that's most important with the gutter? With the
Yes,
gutter?
sir.
Okay. Awesome. So I'd never heard that before. Mike, you probably knew that already, though. You probably did. Okay, and then so what about obviously rotted decking? So this is a thing, but how would we even know without getting up on the? You have to get up on the roof in order to find that, right? Because it'll be like a soft spot or something.
Sure. And there's a difference. Rotting decking is something that's just been ignored and not tended to for years and years. But there's also, if a structure has, let's say it's on its third roof, so you have the decking that's on there that's been, it's going to have knots, it's going to have all that in it. We've had several nails going in, coming out, quite a bit on there. It will lose its integrity after a while, and you won't have a nailable or screwable surface to secure your roofing material.
Well, and also if you've got a sagging or some kind of a compromised roof decking, that would indicate other issues as well, right?
Yeah, moisture.
Moisture,
Yeah, absolutely
sure.
a moisture issue.
Yeah, I see Mike over there going, yeah.
Yeah,
You don't
you may be
expect
able
it-
to see it from the attic side, depending on where it is and how accessible your
Oh, good
attic
point.
is. So,
Yeah. Well,
or
where,
if water starts appearing in your house, that's another sign.
where would you most often find compromised roof decking? Or is it just, it can be anywhere? Or
Could
is
be
it more-
anywhere. The rotting, so another with insurance. Insurance generally will fight covering rotting decking
Really?
because it's something that should have been maintained or looked after. So that's what you have to be careful of, is identifying whether or not it was, it came about because of the replacement of the roof or something like that, or if it was truly a old issue that caused the rotting. But like Mike said, it's get up in the attic and you can see. I mean, it's dark. It's darker than the rest. It's pretty black.
Yeah.
And if you're walking on the roof, you can generally feel it. If that decking's not very thick, you can feel when it's starting to give.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
Hopefully
Carrie,
you don't end up in the attic.
Yeah, that's right.
that would be expensive. Carrie, if folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
www.patriotsroofing.net, and my phone number is 210-244-3165.
All right, thank you very much, Carrie. Always a pleasure, sir.